Hello everyone, this is Coasty Rock, and I'm going to talk about an online free-to-play game that I have been playing for a couple years now. This is GetAmped 2, and if you haven't seen much of it anywhere, it's probably because it doesn't really have a lot of publicity, but it's kind of a 3D brawler type MMO, and it has a lot of things for players. I mean, you can create skins. I have a Koichi skin, but right now I'm just kind of using the default Berserker skin because, well, I like to have something matching my Graham Splendor, which is one of the many hundreds of weapons you get to use in this game. As I am fighting Vajra Authority held by the player Nafitz in here. And that thing, I've heard some pretty infamous things about it being banned in some tournaments. Some people claim that the weapon is not very fun, and Great Avion, which is probably the most used map in this game, I really hate that it's the most used map in this game. But yeah, it fighting that is such a pain. But anyways, this game, I love it. Along with the skin making, there is also a little music editing system that you can make little chip tunes with. Yes, Cyberstep actually made their own little KDJ1 and product. It's a real thing, though not sure how much publicity it got. And well, it's not the best sound editing tool in the world, but it's something for free. You don't even have to pay for it to even use it, and that's the fun part. I got to learn how to make some music, and I'd love to make some videos with those if I can actually safely find a program that can change my MP4 or files into MP3s, because honestly, I do not want to show you guys the sound editor every time I'm presenting a new piece of mine. Which actually I have been out of that for a while because, let's face it, this game doesn't get too much publicity, and it being free to play and all, people need to buy stuff in order to sustain in the game. And I've come to realize that there is a problem with this free to play model in games like this that require competitive play. Hey, cause basically the issue with my issue with the community in this game is the fact that despite how many different very great ways there are to play, the community is very uptight and obsessed with the idea of rushdown play. Now, despite what I'm saying right now, I am actually doing a rushdown like play with this very character I'm using because I'm using a berserker. That's how you do. It's just what you do rushdown with. And uh, but I have also pretty much I've became kind of notorious in this game for my use of the XL Driller accessory, which you won't see in this video because I just for some reason wanted to use this weapon for a while. This was actually a very recent thing after the recent Platinum tournaments, which I will get into a little later. But right now, I first got into this game due to a certain ice yokai. I forgot what. I guess it was just Cyrano on Facebook. But yeah, I was just like one of those guys who spent a lot of time on Facebook when he's not playing Xbox Live. And this Cerno page, it's this pretty much it featured this game that I knew looked familiar because back a couple years back I played Splash Fighters just for a little bit, but I got heavily discouraged by how I lose a lot. And at the time, Holy Beast Online was actually getting around, and that just kind of attracted me more. Where I had a classic MMORPG adventure using a Bluebird Hunter class, and I had a great time. Even playing with one of the GSs, which I seriously believe they need to bring a GS system to this game because there's a lot of rude people in this game. I'm not gonna lie, and it's like there's hardly anyone enforcing good standards and morals, and that can actually be a bit of a problem in free-to-play games where most of your money comes from a loyal customer base buying your products. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people do not like the idea of free-to-play, but pretty much on the one hand, you are able to put in as much money as you want for a game that, if you like it. I mean, like whenever you like buy things with your Xbox and whatnots, you only really end up buying it once, unless for some you have some weird way of actually buying multiple copies of a $60 game because you can. But with free to play, you don't really just run out of stuff to buy. And yeah, the problem with people's attitudes at times is that it can actually dissuade a lot of customers from a product by not keeping things controlled. And speaking of not keeping things controlled, currently we are having an issue in the game where a certain notorious hacker named Nader has been pretty much wreaking havoc on the game files. He's made the NPCs disappear, and on several occasions even preventing players from entering the GAT area of the game, which is basically the main place where everybody goes most of the time when they're not doing Megaforce missions, which, honestly, if you have all the dungeon accessories, you really have no need to go to Megaforce unless there's some event going on, or, just want some cash grab in some way. But, how do I put this? Trying to think of something else. Yeah, I've become very infamous with the Exo Driller accessory having literally no speed at all, but I have like a strength stat of 12 and defense of 10. And the hammer has some really nice reaching specials that will outright ignore how fast or slow you are. So of course I stuck with slow because I didn't need speed, and it could easily be sacrificed for something that can give me more power and defense. Which is totally the opposite of what you're seeing in this video, because actually this Berserker set I'm using has only 1 defense and 10 strength and 9 speed. It's a pretty wild set, but I love them all the same. Except I just think Rushdown playstyles are just overrated in general in this game. I do not know who invented the term JP because I came into this game a lot later than most other older players. It's like pretty much what would older players call new gen. I wasn't around during beta testing, and hmm, yeah, I used to pretty much when I first entered, I was a very different person. I hated losing, and it was very frustrating trying to win. And yeah, I had to suffer losses against players like Snackeye and Rakurai's teams. But I eventually learned to look up some information on fighting games and actually learned some very cool things that have helped me play this game so far. I mean, this is not my first bout with fighting games. I played Blaze Blue and I played Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and some Guilty Gear 2. But it's like, in those games, I never really took much notice about about how a character's differences in stats and skills actually mattered too much. Until I read this at this little website. I forgot exactly what the website was, though maybe I'll link it in the description later. But yeah, it brought me to a whole new idea of advantages and disadvantages among types of fighters. And to this day, I'm still learning some things about this game and its styles. Like one of my favorite styles to play as so far is the Android style, which actually isn't too loved by the community because, especially even one of the best members of this game's community, which is Snackeye, by the way, has a huge disagreement with me whenever I suggest Android style as a kiting style. I mean, I'm trying to be the guy that gives every style a fair chance and try to show just what a style is good for and what it's not good for. The idea that not everything is created equal, and even the best way to play a style does have its flaws. Nothing is perfect. The idea is that people will lean onto a certain type of play style and will evidently play in some ways better than others. I mean, yes, balanced things may be balanced characters may be the most versatile and best styles in the hands of veterans and whatnot, because they can combat everything. But it's like it's not for everyone. Some people like to have a lot of high power and speed, and others like to be really bulky and tanky like Iron Tiger. But it's like there's a kind of a hate for specialized combat types in this game, except for power and speed. That's the one thing that does get any recognition. I mean, tanks are very rare. You hardly ever see androids, despite how good they can actually be. But that is probably because of how they decided to go about doing equipment in this game, and for some reason people not exactly understanding the math that a horse that does kicks isn't exactly a good gunman. It's a sad case where the community wants things to be better, but hardly anyone is actually trying much to improve these things. Well, I'm almost running out of time, so I guess I'll see you guys later. And I may want to do more like tutorial-esque videos in the future, if that's okay. So this is Koichi the Rock signing off. I'll probably be doing more Undertale and the Sword Travesty 3. Now, bye bye.